You're the most popular man in Toronto.
Oh, really?
Again.
Yeah? Well, I wouldn't be surprised if they're getting a little jaded with me now. I can't remember a birthday in England. It must be years now.
And always at this festival.
Yeah.
So.
Well, Venice last year, actually. Mm-hmm. Followed quickly by Toronto.
And Telluride? Have you done the birthday at Telluride?
I just come from Telluride for my first ever Telluride.
I missed your birthday by that much.
Yes.
Well, you and Werner Herzog have a tradition together. He always has his birthday at Telluride.
Oh, really?
And I think he was up there and left right after his birthday.
Oh, I did not know that. We actually spoke there as well.
Yes.
No, I mean, there could not be a more beautiful place to be on any occasion, really. It just blew my mind.
Werner seems like the kind of like polar opposite of you.
What does?
Werner Herzog, yeah.
Does he? What's the polar opposite?
I don't know, some sort of dark, twisted soul.
Oh, you don't know me.
The real truth is there somewhere.
Yeah, no, I think we're soulmates.
So did you have a good time? Did you see movies at Telluride?
No, well, I saw one movie. I saw Never Let Me Go, and I thought it was beautifully done, really beautifully done.
It is kind of amazing, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. Well, I mean, I think you've got some of the three best actors of that generation there. Mm-hmm. I thought it was just brilliant, really.
Yeah.
But no, you know what? It was wonderful to gather the views because it's a community there. It forms a little community. The fact that it's not a market and business cards aren't flying around and it's Blackberries aren't clicking through credits of rolling on movies.
Yeah.
There are no prizes, in the conventional sense.
So you had an unconventional prize, right?
There's an unconventional prize.
You got homaged.
You can go. You can inhale some love.
Is it strange to be homaged at your young age?
Bless you for the young age. It's strange to be homaged. You really don't quite know how to do that. It's seeing clip reels of your life. It's what happens before the plane goes down. It's not. It's a vertiginous feeling that this must be it.
Telluride, I always had that feeling going on the small plane into Telluride. I always thought, okay, I'm counting the people. Who's most famous on the plane? What's they going to read if we all go down?
I know, it's weird. Actually, once you get there, though, it's like Mount Parnassus or something. You feel like you have to go through a wardrobe to get there. And no, what I did there was, what was wonderful about it, the environment speaks for itself. You just get a glimpse of it. It's just beyond beautiful. Yeah. And you meet the people you admire most in the world. It's quite incredible. And you're interacting with them in very close quarters because there's only one main street. Yeah. And then you ride that little gondola thing over the mountain. And you'll be with about 7 people, one of whom may lecture and film at Berkeley, and 2 of them are old ladies from Kentucky, and you find out what they think about what they're seeing. And so you're really thrown together in a way which doesn't happen easily in any other environment. Yeah. And you gather what people think about movies from all sorts of different angles. So I decided, rather than to sit in dark theatres in the middle of paradise, just bank the information, go check out the movies somewhere else, and use the time to walk the trails and just be in the beauty of the place.
That's a perfect way to do it. Yeah. I think it's the most perfect film festival in the world myself. I always thought.
Well, I just said that actually. I mean, and there are some quite special ones. I mean, my experience of Venice will stay with me forever. Just partly because my number came up, and I love Toronto. I think it's one of the great festival towns. I think that the inhabitants of this city are the perfect crowd because I think they're highly sophisticated, but they don't seem too jaded to me. Yeah. And it's getting big. It's getting big now, which is a sign of its success. Yes. I tend to prefer it a little smaller. And I like a lot of places, but I can some film festivals are utter complete torture, and some of them are pleasant.
You're not referencing to Sundance, are you?
No.
Sometimes it's just hard. I mean, it's just physically
Sundance
hard.
It wasn't in my mind when I said that, but no, Sundance has got big too. I think it's an important festival. I think it almost seemed to invent that kind of festival. I think it's the model that many others have followed. I know Telluride precedes it by some years, but I think it's an incredibly important festival, and it's facilitated a lot of films. So I wouldn't knock Sundance, but I just think if you were told that you could only ever go to one film festival in your life again, I think Telluride would be the one.
I'm with you on that one. There is something about everybody wanting to be there so much.
Yeah.
So it's like nobody gets there by mistake.
Well, just the physical fact of getting there means you have to be serious about it. You're going up you got to whatever, by whatever virtue, if you're not lucky enough to get the charter, it's a tortuous route, and you're going up 9,000 feet.
Yes, which is why people can't go. Originally, when they started that festival, it was a silent. One of their big things was it was silent films.
Right.
So they had all the silent film stars, and then they either died or could not come up to that height.
Well, yeah,
it was too high, too much altitude.
I know it's certainly. There's Darwinian, survival of the fittest.
Chuck Jones used to go, and there's a theater with his name on it now.
Yeah.
And he, 3 or 4 years before he passed, he couldn't go anymore.
I heard that. I heard he had to leave. It's interesting, actually. We were wondering if this film. We have to test this film at sea level. People liked it, and they came out all giddy. And you think, well, is it the movie, or is it? Well,
that's true of every film festival, though, isn't it? There's a certain you go there wanting to fall in love.
No, that's true, but not necessarily with altitude effects.
Yes, that's true.
But no, that's true. I don't think a festival is necessarily a barometer for what's going to happen in the rest of the world.
So, have you watched the film with an audience?
Yeah, I saw it the first time at Telluride.
Telluride.
I didn't even know if the emulsion was dry. I mean, Tom Hooper finished the film on Tuesday of last week.
Wow.
So it really was fresh, and Telluride were absolutely the virgin audience.
So did you know when you had them while you were watching it?
Well, the thing that knocked us over was the laughter. Mm-hmm. I mean, we knew the film had humour, we intended the humour. I think humour was, we didn't do that in order to get laughs. Mm-hmm. We did it because this was it was like a kind of an instrument that the two men of this story employ with each other. It was also, from a writing point of view, it was necessary because the film could, a story like this could stray into the area of self-pity if you're not careful. We're telling, some pretty sad stories here, and that's not going to get a lot of sympathy. Member of the royal family, poor little rich boy, and you realize you need this information to say that his upbringing is not like that. He was abused, really. I think that word is perfectly applicable. And he's lonely and he's alienated, and we need to explain why. He did not grow up with silk sheets and silver spoons.
So you were a perfect choice, I guess, for that role, and that you're naturally sympathetic, I think, to audiences.
I am no judge of that, but I think that anyone's sympathy can be tested if they whine and complain. And it was very important that this character does not do that, and he doesn't. He clearly doesn't. I mean, it's more to do with his courage and determination than anything else. But the essential ingredient on top of that was humour. The fact that he does have a certain wryness about himself, and he's asked if he knows any jokes, and he says, "Timing's not my strong suit. If you've got a stammer." And I think that he's able to subvert, and so is Logue. Logue uses. I mean, I think Jeffrey's terribly funny in the film.
Yes,
because he's mischievous and he's playful, and he uses that to get round these terribly obstructive royal protocols. It's ridiculous formality, these names you have to use, and the addresses, and these rules, and how close you can sit, and whether you say Your Majesty first and Sir second, and his name's Philip Arthur George, whatever. Right. No wonder the guy's kind of got communication problems.
Well, it's almost like the only thing that would work for him was somebody who demanded equality.
Entirely, and that's the first barrier he has to overcome. In fact, to me, it's incredibly eloquent, the whole thing, that when they first sit down, the first thing that Logue does is move his chair back. It's being mischievous there a little bit. I was told you're not supposed to sit too close, whether that's true or not.
Right.
It's like, okay, you've got a lot of problems, and it probably comes to the fact you don't really know anybody. They all have to call you these things, and they have to behave in this way, and you have to dress this way. And you have no mates, and
living in the shadow of your brother.
Oh, I mean, the list of problems. I mean, it's a psychoanalyst's field day.
So was it? This is really the first British royalty of anything close to this level you've played. Yes,
I think so. Yeah,
you've played a lord or two, but I think you've got into.
I think this is my first foray into the very upper echelons of our caste system.
Intimidating, or is it something you consider? Is it just a role?
No, not for that reason. I don't think
pretty recent history.
It is. No, I mean, I'm conscious that this man has living relatives, whether she happens to be the Queen of England or not. His daughter's around, and I think you have to have some sensitivity towards that. And Logue's grandchildren are around, and I don't take that lightly. But no, the idea that I would be intimidating because they're so important doesn't conform to my politics. So I don't see it that way. My concern was with the qualities these people have as human beings, and I had learned to have actually a huge amount of affection for this man and a lot of respect for him. Whether I like the social structure that he represents is a completely different argument, and I don't think the film does much to address that. Really.
No, is this a well-known story in England?
Not really. I mean,
did you know about it
my parents would know all about it.
Right.
They don't know about Logue. I don't know how many people would know this specific story. The abdication is known, but I don't think it's nothing. People don't go around talking about it. I mean, I think from my generation down, it barely features except in a history lesson. I mean, I think I'll stick my neck out saying this, but I think the general public know as much and are as interested in the royal family as the American public.